Every year more Santas give RCA.
Ever wondered what happened to that one Christmas toy from the 70s that disappeared completely? Coming up, I'll reveal a forgotten Christmas treasure that was actually banned just months after hitting the shelves. Plus, wait until you see which toy on our list now sells for over $5,000 to collectors. But first, get ready for 22 of the most wanted vintage Christmas toys from the 1960s and 1970s that defined our childhood. And trust me, number 17 will shock you.
This is Evel Knievel and the Evel Knievel shock-absorbing stunt cycle.
First up, the Evel Knievel stunt cycle from 1973. This was the toy every kid wanted, and oh boy, let me tell you why. You'd get this awesome motorcycle with Evel sitting on it, decked out in his red, white, and blue jumpsuit. The real magic was in that orange launcher. You'd put the motorcycle in, grab the charging handle, and crank it up. The sound it made? Vroom!
This is Evel Knievel and...
Like a real motorcycle revving up. Every kid on my block would come running when they heard that sound. I remember turning my whole living room into a stunt arena. I used my sister's books as ramps, lined up all my other toys as the audience, and even put my mom's throw pillows as safety nets. Sorry, Mom. The best part? When you let go, that cycle would zoom across the room like a rocket. Sometimes, Evel would make the jump perfectly, and we'd all cheer. Other times, he'd crash and flip through the air, which was even cooler. Sure, sometimes the launcher's cord would get tangled, or Evel would lose his helmet under the couch, but finding him was like a treasure hunt. It was the kind of toy that made you feel like a real stunt director.
Colonel Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man.
The $6 Million Man action figure from 1975 was like having a real spy gadget in your toy box. Steve Austin wasn't just any ordinary action figure. This guy had some seriously cool features that made other toys look boring. The most amazing part? He had this tiny bionic eye you could look through. You'd peek through a small hole in the back of his head, and suddenly everything looked different. Kind of like looking through a tiny telescope. But wait, there's more. His bionic arm had this awesome feature where it made this satisfying clicking sound when you lifted it. Just like in the TV show, I turned my entire bedroom into a top-secret spy headquarters. The closet became an enemy base. Under the bed was a secret tunnel, and the windowsill turned into a lookout post. Using his bionic eye, I'd scan for bad guys hiding behind my toys or lurking in the hallway.
Attention, Steve Austin. We have a red alert. Special UN representative Ayud Nadir has escaped Interpol surveillance. Find him, Austin.
He came wearing this cool red tracksuit, and his hair was perfectly styled just like Lee Majors from the show. Even the box was amazing, with pictures showing all his bionic powers. Sometimes I'd team him up with my other action figures for super secret rescue missions.
It's Magnetic Batman and Magnetic Robin with magnetic hands and feet.
Back in the golden days of the 70s, Mego was a name that filled the hearts of kids everywhere with excitement. They weren't just any toy company. They were the creators of the most iconic action figures of the vintage era. If a TV show or movie was popular in the 70s, you could bet Mego had an action figure for it. From the wild adventures of the Dukes of Hazzard to the cool, leather-jacketed Fonz, Mego brought these beloved characters to life as lightweight, 8-inch figurines. But it didn't stop there. Superheroes like Captain America and the Falcon joined the lineup too. Mego's journey started humbly, making dime store toys. But everything changed when they turned their focus to action figures in the early 70s. Their big break came with the world's greatest superheroes collection. The real magic? Mego somehow managed to land the rights to both Marvel and DC characters. A feat that seems impossible today. This unique crossover meant fans could finally live out epic battles like Spider-Man versus Superman or Captain America versus Batman. When Mego launched this series in 1972, it was a game changer, solidifying the company's place as one of the decade's coolest and most loved toy makers.
Hey, if you could go back in time, which 70s toy would you want Santa to bring you? Drop your answer in the comments. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button.
Etch A Sketch, originally known as L'Écran Magic, which translates to magic screen, was the brainchild of French inventor André Cassagne. It wasn't an easy journey to bring it to life. Cassagnes struggled to get it produced until the Ohio Art Company took a bold leap of faith, investing $25,000 to secure the licensing rights. Rebranded as Etch A Sketch, the toy hit the market with a bang in 1960, thanks to clever marketing and heavy television promotion. It quickly became a holiday favorite, making its way onto Christmas wish lists across America. What made Etch A Sketch so special? Its unique drawing mechanism, two knobs that allowed kids to twist and turn their way to create pictures, captured the imagination of an entire generation. Simple, yet endlessly fascinating, it gave children the freedom to create and erase their artwork over and over again. Its charm wasn't just in its design, it was the magic of endless possibility. To this day, Etch A Sketch remains a beloved piece of childhood nostalgia, a timeless reminder of the power of creativity. But Etch A Sketch wasn't the only toy to make waves in the early 1960s. When G.I. Joe got his Kung Fu grip in 1974, it wasn't just a new feature. It was like getting a whole new toy. Instead of those old stiff plastic hands that could barely hold anything, these new Joes had these amazing soft rubber hands that could actually grip stuff. The TV commercials weren't lying for once. These guys could hold on to practically anything. The grip was so strong, Joe could even hold on to my sister's Barbie accessories. Don't tell her. Climb up blanket mountains and carry his backpack full of tiny supplies. Sure, sometimes the rubber hands would get a bit sticky in hot weather, but a baby powder fixed that right up. Every kid in the neighborhood wanted to test just how much their Joe could hold. Man, Baby Alive wasn't just any ordinary doll. She was like having a real baby that could eat and do what babies do. She came with these special food packets that you'd mix with water to make different colored baby food. The wild part was her mechanical mouth that would move up and down with this weird chomping sound. Chump, chump, chump. It was kind of creepy, but super cool at the same time. My sister would spend hours feeding her and changing her tiny diapers. But Mom wasn't exactly thrilled when the food would sometimes get stuck inside the doll's mechanisms, or worse when the diaper didn't quite do its job properly. Each doll came with her own special spoon, bib, and diapers, plus those magical food packets that looked like tiny Kool-Aid mix. The commercials made it look so easy and clean, but in real life, let's just say we went through a lot of diapers. Despite the mess, every girl in my class wanted one for Christmas. Forget everything you knew about riding toys. The green machine was like someone took a big wheel and turned it into a stunt vehicle. Instead of boring old handlebars, this bad boy had these amazing stick controls on both sides. Pull the right stick back, push the left one forward, and boom! You're spinning like a top right there on the sidewalk. The seat was super low to the ground, making you feel like you were driving a real racing machine. I remember racing down our street's hill, pulling those sticks back, and leaving skid marks all over the driveway. My mom always knew where I'd been by following the black rubber marks. Every kid in the neighborhood wanted a turn. The grass stains on our jeans and scuffed up sneakers were like badges of honor, showing how much fun we'd had.
Retro nostalgia fans, hit that subscribe button for more memories down the lane.
Football 2 from Mattel Electronics.
I said, who's in there?
The Mattel electronic football game was like carrying a whole football stadium in your pocket. Those tiny red LED dots might look simple today, but back then, pure magic. Your player was the blinking dot at the bottom, and you had to guide him through a field of defender dots to score a touchdown. The controls were super simple, just a tiny switch that moved your player left, right, or straight ahead.
So I think it was Christmas of 1977. I was maybe 9 or 10 at the time. I guess I was 9. All I wanted in the entire world was this.
You could make up your own game strategies, zigzagging between defenders, running straight up the sidelines, or my favorite, the diagonal dash to the end zone. The best part? It ran on a 9-volt battery that seemed to last forever. We'd have secret tournaments during lunch break at school, crowding around to watch the final plays. Everyone wanted to be the touchdown king.
Let's play Simon! Simon says, come chase after me. Repeat.
Simon wasn't just any toy. It was like having a spaceship that played brain games. This flying saucer-shaped wonder had 4 big colored buttons: red, green, blue, and yellow. Each one made a different musical tone when you pressed it. The game would flash a pattern of lights and sounds, and you had to copy it exactly. Miss one color, and buzz. Game over. I remember this epic showdown at Tommy's birthday party where I made it to level 14. Felt like a memory master. We'd have Simon tournaments at sleepovers, playing until our eyes were crossed from watching those flashing lights. The best players were treated like rock stars at school. Even my mom got addicted to it, practicing late at night when she thought we were asleep.
Lite-Brite, turn on the magic of colored lights.
Lite-Brite was like having your own mini Times Square billboard. This amazing toy had a big black screen with hundreds of tiny holes, and when you stuck those colorful pegs in, pow, they would light up like magic. It came with these cool paper patterns you'd press against the screen, showing you exactly where to put each colored peg. But the real fun was creating your designs. I'd spend hours making spaceships, writing my name in different colors, or creating wild patterns that looked like fireworks. The only downside? Those pegs would scatter everywhere. Stepping on one in the dark was like stepping on a tiny lightning bolt. Ouch! Mom always found random pegs on the carpet for weeks, but it was worth it. The best part was that you could start over with a blank screen whenever possible. Back in 1968, Hot Wheels zoomed into the world and quickly became the favorite toy for kids who loved speed. Mattel's co-founder, Elliot Handler, wanted to create a toy that boys would love as much as his wife Ruth's Barbie. And that's how Hot Wheels was born: American cars that were faster, cooler, and more stylish than the British Matchbox cars. The first collection had 16 bright, colorful hot rods, all built for speed and toughness. Hot Wheels weren't just toys. They were a whole adventure. Kids built huge tracks and raced their cars around their living rooms. With the iconic orange tracks, it was easy to set up thrilling races with loops and jumps. By Christmas 1968, Hot Wheels were on the top of kids' wish lists everywhere, and they've stayed popular ever since. But speed wasn't the only thing kids were looking for. Another toy was coming up fast to compete. Lego, which comes from the Danish phrase "leg godt," meaning play well, was already gaining fans in the 1960s. By 1969, Lego had built its way to the top of Christmas lists. The company had been around since the 1930s, but it wasn't until the famous plastic interlocking bricks were introduced in 1949 that Lego became known all over the world. The beauty of Lego was simple: stack, snap, and build. Kids could make anything they imagined. By the late 1960s, Lego sets included cars, buildings, and even whole themes. Lego sparked endless creativity, and it's been a favorite toy ever since. But the fun didn't stop there. Another toy was about to stretch its way into every kid's heart. Stretch Armstrong was the weirdest, coolest action figure ever. This muscle-bound dude was made of this super stretchy rubber filled with some kind of gooey syrup stuff. He looked tough with his black Speedo and golden tan, but the real fun was seeing just how far you could stretch him. The commercials said he could stretch to 4 feet, but we always tried to push it further. You could wrap him around chair legs, stretch him between two kids, or my favorite, tie him in knots. The amazing thing was that no matter how much you pulled him, twisted him, or tied him up, he'd always snap back to his original shape. Well, almost always. There was always that one kid who just had to know what was inside. And once Stretch got a tiny hole, that corn syrup filling would start oozing out everywhere. It was like sticky alien blood that got on everything. I remember my friend Billy cutting his open on purpose, the biggest mistake ever. His mom found corn syrup stains on their carpet months later.
Where are you? It's Atari Mario Brothers with Mario from Donkey Kong, his brother.
The Atari 2600 was like having an arcade right in your living room. That wooden front panel was supposed to make it look fancy enough for parents to allow it near the TV, but we kids didn't care about that. We were too busy being amazed by those blocky graphics that somehow seemed so real. The joystick was so simple, just a stick and one red button, but it could take you anywhere.
You can get 9 cartridges, 187 games.
Blackjack.
Oh! I'd like an Atari.
Sorry, only our demonstrators left.
I remember my hands getting all sweaty during intense Space Invaders battles, and the way my whole family would crowd around to take turns at Pong. The best part? When your friend got a new game, it was like Christmas all over again. Even those awful graphics glitches became part of the fun. Getting Star Wars action figures in 1977 was like striking gold. These weren't just toys, they were your ticket to recreating the entire movie in your bedroom. Each figure was about 3.75 inches tall, and even though they didn't look exactly like the movie stars, we didn't care one bit. Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Darth Vader, Chewbacca, every character you got was like adding a new star to your plastic galaxy. Those tiny lightsabers were always the first things to go missing, probably vacuumed up by Mom. But we'd use anything as replacements: toothpicks, pen caps, even stripped twist ties. The original 1977 Star Wars Early Bird Certificate package can sell for $4,000 to $6,000 today to collectors. This was a unique empty box certificate sold by Kenner for Christmas 1977 because they couldn't produce the actual Star Wars figures in time for the holiday rush. But the absolute holy grail? The Millennium Falcon playset. If you had that, you were royalty in the neighborhood. It was huge, had secret compartments, and made the coolest sounds when you pressed the buttons. I remember making up new adventures that weren't even in the movie, like when Darth Vader and Chewbacca had to team up to fight my sister's Barbie, Hungry. Hungry Hippos wasn't just a game. It was like unleashing chaos in a box. 4 colorful plastic hippos with long necks would chomp and snap at marbles like they hadn't eaten in weeks. The noise was incredible. A mix of clicking necks, rattling marbles, and kids screaming with excitement. Mom could hear us playing from anywhere in the house. Click, clack, rattle, bang. The marbles would bounce everywhere. Hippos would chomp like crazy, and sometimes the whole game would shake right off the table. We'd spend hours having tournaments, making up new rules, and arguing over whose hippo was the hungriest. The best strategy? Some said it was slow and steady. Others went for speed demon mode. But everyone agreed. When that last marble disappeared, someone had to yell, "Time's up!"
You got butterflies in your stomach!
Operation wasn't just a game, it was a test of nerves that turned everyone into a shaky surgeon. The patient was this poor, red-nosed guy with holes all over his body. And you had to remove these weird plastic pieces without touching the metal sides. Sounds easy, right? Ha! The anticipation was the worst part. You'd hover over the game with those metal tweezers, trying to keep your hands steady while everyone watched. One tiny slip and bzz! That horrible buzzing sound would make you jump every single time. And of course, jumping made you buzz again. And then everyone would crack up laughing. The real pros could get the pieces out without lighting up his nose, but most of us just tried not to scream when it buzzed. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Wasn't just a catchy slogan, it was a challenge. These egg-shaped little people with their weighted bottoms were like tiny magic toys that refused to stay down. No matter how hard you push them, they'd always pop right back up with this satisfying little rocking motion. We had the whole Weeble family. Mom, dad, kids, even the dog. The playsets were amazing too. There was a Weeble house, a Weeble car, and even a Weeble playground. Everything was made just the right size for those wobbly little friends, and they'd bob around in their spots like they were dancing. I remember trying everything to make them fall over. Putting them on slopes, spinning them super fast, even trying to stack them. The faster you knocked them down, the quicker they'd bounce back up, almost like they were laughing at you. Tin Can Alley wasn't your ordinary target game. It was like having a mini carnival shooting gallery in your living room. The star of the show was this awesome light-up gun that made actual shooting sounds when you pulled the trigger. Pow, pow! It felt so real, even though it just shot a beam of light. The set came with these super cool tin cans that had special targets on them. You'd line them up on this plastic alley thing, then step back and try to knock them down from across the room. The best part was that satisfying clang sound when you hit one just right. It was like getting a high score at the county fair. We'd set up different challenges, moving targets, speed rounds, and even tournaments with the neighborhood kids. Sometimes the dog would knock over the cans mid-game, but that just added to the fun. The only downside was having to change the batteries pretty often because nobody could stop playing. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. In 1966, a new kind of action game entered the ring. Rock'em Sock'em Robots, created by Marvin Glass and Associates and produced by Mark's Toys. The game featured two robots, Red Rocker and Blue Bomber, controlled by players using joysticks. The goal was simple: knock your opponent's head off by landing the perfect punch. The game was easy to learn but incredibly fun. It quickly captured the imaginations of children, with its exciting gameplay letting them act out boxing matches, cheering on their favorite robot. Every punch created a sense of tension, and players waited for that final, perfect hit to pop their opponent's head off. By Christmas 1966, Rock'em Sock'em Robots had become a huge success, securing its place as one of the most iconic toys of the 1960s. It's a game that has stood the test of time and is still loved by kids today. Spirograph. In 1967, Spirograph, created by British engineer Dennis Fisher, changed how kids approached creative play. It allowed children to make stunning geometric designs with gears, wheels, and colored pens. By placing the gears inside each other and moving the pen around the pattern, kids created intricate spiral shapes. Spirograph wasn't just about making art, it also got kids thinking about math. The designs were endlessly varied, offering hours of entertainment as children experimented with different gear combinations. The colorful, hypnotic patterns Spirograph created made it a perfect Christmas gift in 1967, appealing to both kids and parents who loved its educational value. Spirograph quickly became a favorite toy in the late 1960s and 1970s and continues to be beloved today, proving that creativity and mathematics can go hand in hand. Tonka Trucks became an iconic part of childhood in the 1960s, known for being tough and durable enough to handle rough outdoor play. Made from sturdy metal, these trucks were built for heavy-duty fun. Whether kids were digging, hauling, or building in their backyards or sandboxes, The bright yellow Tonka dump truck was the most popular model, allowing kids to transport dirt, sand, and rocks while encouraging imaginative play. Its strong design meant it could take a beating and keep going, making it a favorite for generations of children. Parents loved the durability, and kids loved the realistic feel of the trucks. By the mid-1960s, Tonka trucks were a must-have toy under the Christmas tree, and their popularity only continued to grow. Tonka became synonymous with high-quality, rugged toys, creating a brand legacy that has lasted for decades. What a journey through the most popular Christmas toys from the 1970s we've had today, from forgotten treasures to best-selling classics. Subscribe to American Vintage Tales for more forgotten rides in the past.